All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Doushin Talk. My name is Gadu, and I'm the owner of Heart of Tao Resonance Art. So today, our topic is new beginning. You know, so this has been kind of a year of a transformation. You know, I'm not saying good or bad. It's a year of a transformation, but it's also year of rebirth, new beginning. The things that we could take it for granted, no longer that's the case. So then we have to find a new way to do things, let go of some of the old ideas, bring in the new ideas. And that's same for the world and same for my life as well. There are a lot going on. And one of the things that happening inside is I'll be, kind of moving away from Spring Forest Qigong and carrying on to develop my own called resonance healing. And of course, it's based on Qigong because that's kind of half of my life. But but then I'll be developing ideas and different new practice and different kind of a thing through my blog, of course, Doushin Talk and deep resonance classes. So if you're interested, keep coming to those classes and kind of stay with me. That'd be interesting to see the development of it. And if you're interested in, if you're someone who are new to all these practice, if you can join our membership, you can watch all the archive recording of a Doushin Talk and Deep Resonance. And of course, you can come and join the daily class too. So then that's one way to get yourself used to some of these things. And one of the things I'm changing is I'm changing the vocabulary and terminologies that we've been using. The one of the reason is to differentiate myself from Qigong practice, and also eventually at some point I would like to be able to teach in Japan. So the change in the term to closer to more of a Japanese term, and help the transition easier. Because Japanese and Chinese tend to use the same characters, but then the way it sounds is different oftentimes. And of course, Japanese have their own sensibilities, which is very different from Chinese, so their understanding of a certain idea is very different. So, of course, I'm not Chinese, I'm Japanese, so trying to understand the whole Chinese aesthetics is not always easy, And I always thought of like a project, my Japanese part of it too. So then I'm just full swing into my Japanese part of it, because then I can share that with you without feeling like I think that's what they mean, but instead like, oh, this is how it is in Japan. Or the way the Japanese understand, and of course, this is how I understand things. So for example, so the words Qigong, in Japanese, it's the Kiko. So the Qi is actually Ki, If you think of it, if you spell the Qi as Qi, it's actually in English too. Most natural things to pronounce is Ki, right, instead of Qi. So, and then the word song, the Qigong relaxation technique is in Japanese, it's su. And it's have a different meaning. So I'll share some of these things in detail more in a deep resonance class or following, classes too. And word void, in Chinese it's a shen, but in Japanese it's gen. In Japan, the brown rice is called genmai. I think if you have had Japanese genmai before, then the same word gen is that, means a dark. Gen is actually the character-wise means dark or mystery. So the genmai is a brown rice, so that's a darker rice. So that's why it's called genmai. And the dantien is a tanden, which is very similar, So the dan is a tan, And the same meaning is the same. It's really the energy pill or energy medicine, but its original meaning is the elixir. And of course, if you've been following, I have changed already the way, in a Qigong practice, we have called on masters, but, I've been using the word guide, there's a Doushin Talk about that. And the password, keeping the password, but instead of just calling a password, I've been using the heart opening password, And again, you can watch the Doushin Talk from a few months ago that I talked about the password. So you can also use, any kind of a phrase or words for the password. In the basic ones, the universe inside me, universe and I combined together. But from there, you can go and use different words, like, universe, we've been talked about, like, it's a nice word, but then also it's kind of a limiting to a physical universe, So then that you can use different words, like I've been using the word everything there is, beyond time and space, In Japanese, it's called bambus, but that's also kind of doesn't feel quite right. So just in the English, everything there is. Or using the word sanctity, In the Shinto tradition, it's called mi. It's just a one sound, mi. So sometimes I use that too for myself. And the word kokoro. I talked about that in the Doushin Talk too, but kokoro in Japanese means heart and mind. In Chinese, also in Japanese, it's pronounced as shin as well. So you might have heard the word shin before. But kokoro, I just kind of like the word kokoro, the sound of it, Instead of just like one syllable, it's like kokoro, and heart and mind. So I've been using the word to describe all the heart and mind. And the E is actually E. It's the same in Japanese and Chinese, So it's the same. So some of the stuff like that, some of the pronunciations similar, but slight changes. And, I've been introducing different ideas, such as like a four aspect of being. It was in the a week before, in a blog too. So if you go back to my blog, there's a little more. And then if the YouTube, there's a short video about it too. So four aspect of being is the soul, spirit, your physical part, and the kokoro, your heart and mind. And the whole diagram that I kind of discovered in the process, and I'm using it now for my logo too. And that be the kind of a base of the idea is actually become very integral part of the healing practice as well, understanding how the healing works. And those things will unfold as it goes along. So like this, it's really the beginning of a new practice in a way. And from there, it's going to develop so many ways. And the movement, adapting some of the Qigong movement, but then there's a different ideas I'm interjecting to kind of activating, your energy more efficiently. And also, because it's not just about the body, not just about the mind, just about spirit or soul. Everything all have to come together, So how can we actually do that in our practice is kind of my goal, So it's not just about moving my body like this, but how can we be mindful and so really feel the movement, of energy inside. So those are the things, some of the practical part of a practice I'll be sharing in the deep resonance in coming toward the end of a month, and as a series too. So these are all these exciting things, and it's really only a beginning too. So it's gonna go develop from there more and more. And I can feel, there are going to be a lot of growth, happens, personally and also as a community too. So I really appreciate, you be here to kind of be the part of it, And so that's the one part of a new beginning. But now the second part of beginning is when we practice, our movement or meditation, we tend to think the actual part of a meditation, or the movement is the most important part. But that's actually not true. How you prepare yourself, how you begin the process, that's even more important, Because if your mindset is still kind of coming from, coming out of work and you're still thinking about all sorts of things, and if you start doing the movement, you're not going to get there. You're just doing repeating the movement. And of course, in the process, you might come down. But, from the stress level from here to here is different from starting from here and then going deeper. The purpose of our practice to go deeper. So then how can we go deeper? That's the part. How we can begin our practice properly. And how we can get deeper in the practice, get most out of it. Even though you might have to take a little more time to preparing yourself, but once it's become kind of like a series of steps, So like steps, you can, okay, even though your stress level is over here, okay, one step, focusing on my body. Second step, focusing on my breath, focusing on my mind. So slowly. So by the time you start the movement, you're already relaxed state. So then from there, you can go deeper and deeper, Or if you use higher and higher, whichever the word you use. The word is just a word, So I'm using some of the Qigong practice, I came up with a new set of kind of a series of things that we can do called mindful resonance. That's what I'm calling it. It's a beginning posture and how we can actually begin our practice, the beginning state. And that's going to be just a class of its own too. It's a part of my daily class. I've been calling it mindful flow Qigong right now. But it's like that. It's just we spend pretty much almost half of the time just preparing ourselves, And of course, in a daily practice, you might not have to use that kind of, that much time. But once you start doing it, once in a while you take time to put yourself into the state, then you know where you need to go, So then the amount of time you need to get shorter and shorter, but with practice. So this mindful resonance, is we can use it before doing the healing movement or healing meditation. But for that matter, you can do anything with it, because the part of a resonance healing is really about finding your own, So it doesn't have to be a Qigong movement, or it doesn't have to be a Tai Chi, or it doesn't have to be yoga. Could be anything. Could be any type of meditation, could be any type of movement practice or healing practice. But you can use the same practice to get into the place where you can start. So then you're ready to resonate with the energy, whether you're working with your own energy or working with other people's energy as a healer. So that's the kind of really a focus of a resonance healing. And part of the people who need healing movement, of course, I'll continue to teach some of the modified or reinvented version of a Qigong movement and stuff like that. But really, the mindful resonance is for preparing yourself for anything. So first I will talk about what is a step, and then we'll actually do it together. And if you have done Qigong before, then it's pretty familiar. It's nothing new, But first thing is to, whether you're standing or sitting, you have a mindful alignment. You stand and just feel your feet, alignment of your body, how your body is balanced. If your weight is distributed evenly, or if you feel your body slightly twisted, all those things, you just be mindful. And then you feel your lifeline. That's actually a whole new, well, it's not new necessarily. Master Lin probably have talked about it in Small Universe class, but then lifeline is really the line that connecting from your top of your head down to the bottom of your torso. So top of your head in Japanese, this energy point is called hyakue. And the bottom of your torso, the energy point is called ein. And this line is very important. And there's so many different Qigong practice or Kung Fu or Tai Chi, or they have a different idea about whether all those three tanden or dantians are. But I feel, to understanding it, all the dantian or tanden is located along this lifeline. Makes sense, And then later I'll talk more about what is the actual function of each tanden and stuff like that. But so the upper tanden, middle tanden, and lower tanden, all connected along this, aligned along this lifeline. And then in order to feel lifeline, we need to also feel the different part of a physical body. So one of them is a SC joint. That's the sternum clavicle joint, or something like that. It's called SC, the S and C. So it's like a sternum and collarbone joint. So we tend to think our arms start from our shoulder, but actually, if you think of it, your arm is actually starting from your collarbone, sternum joint, this SC joint. And then by feeling that, you can really feel more of your center. And by engaging your lifeline, you're also engaging your core. You've heard the word core. Engage your core in a different kind of a physical practice too. You can activate your core that way too. And the SI joint is where the sacrum and ilium, that's the big pelvic bone, meet. So those are the SI joints. So it's called sacroiliac joint or something like that. All those long Latin names. But also that point, by focusing that SI joint and SC joint, you can activate your lifeline. So those are the kind of things I'm going to talk about in the deep resonance class coming. And then, if you have taken my deep resonance from last year, you've actually exposed to some of that too. And then the state of Su. Su is actually in the Qigong practice called basic state. The feeling of your body is engaged but relaxed. So the word song in Chinese means pine tree. It's literally that, but it's more like a pine needle, right? So the feeling of the kind of a sharpness and the energy that go all the way to the tip, but it's also very soft. That's kind of how pine needle is. And your body, just make your body into that. But in the Japanese word su, use the same character but different name, a meaning. And the su is not just means pine tree, but it's also a space inside the root vegetable, or the space inside, like when you cast irons and stuff like that. That's called su, which is it's also other meaning. It makes sense because in the going into the state of su, you are creating space inside for your qi or ki to flow most efficiently. So when you feel like, oh, I'm creating space for my ki to flow, naturally your body will go into the state of su. And then we start bouncing, right? The bouncing, we can still do that too, And when we bounce, make sure your feet is on the floor. You're just bouncing from your knees. But when you bounce, you just find the most comfortable vibration. It's not about moving your body very hard to warm yourself up, but then it's really about feeling this vibration where you don't have to think about anything. You just almost feel your body is just going by itself because it's so comfortable. And that doesn't mean like you have to do exactly same as anyone else. You have to find that for yourself. That's also part of bringing your focus inward. And then you start, breathing through your nose, breathing out through your mouth. So this breathing from a nose to mouth is help you to release the extra tension. So that's why in the later, and when we do energy breathing, it's a little bit different. And we scan our body, each part of our body. That's one of a mindful practice. How each part of my body moving. It's easy to live our life without really understanding what my body is actually doing. And, it's like people hit themselves all over the place because they have no sense of where your body is. And so when you don't have the sense, that you don't have a sense of where things are. It's so funny because it's a cultural too. Because I grew up in Japan, so I'm used to being people walking nearby. So if I'm in a crowd, I can just move without hitting anybody. But my husband grew up in Minnesota. He just run into people all the time because he have no sense of, where things are, in his own body and the relationship with others, So then he just keep, run into people all the time. So like that. So when you really feel, okay, where is the line of my body and where the other things start? Even though those are arbitrary things, so energetically you have to feel like where is the line of my body? So by focusing on each part of your body, you start feeling that. And then raising your arm, those kind of things will do, which also helps to activate the channel in our body too. But also, when you raise your arm, like how can you raise your arm without trying to hold it? Instead of you're just balancing your arms over your head, which part of your body you have to engage, or which part of your body you have to release in order to do that, so you don't have to get like this, Sometimes you see people with they're trying to raise your shoulder and not really raising your arms, and that's not gonna help because when you have that kind of a tension, you are actually, creating more congestion in your body. And then the idea of a spiral, I'll introduce that too. So spiral is one of the important things to activate your lifeline. That we'll go more detail in the deep resonance class later, but idea of a spiral, feeling the spiral. When we kind of move our body, rotate our body a little bit, sometimes I see people just throwing their body around, by moving, throwing their arms around. But then you're just trying to pull or push your muscles, but not being mindfully releasing your body. So instead, how can we feel like everything is moving, like, like a old, the drums style laundry, the inside the core is moving like this, right? And then everything else move around like that. But how can we feel this core and this lifeline moving? And you feel this spiral, the moving from inside out into your body. So that kind of a mindfulness feeling. And then we can still do cupping and tapping because we still have all these energy points in the body. Cupping and tapping helps to activate those. And then there's, I'll teach you just a little bit what we're going to talk about the paper balloon technique. And that's also going to come in a deep resonance. We'll talk about it more later. But it's all about how you hold your body. So this is a paper balloon. It's also a little bit cultural because it's a Japanese paper balloon. I don't know if you guys ever played with paper balloon in your life, but it's made of paper. It's very thin, and we play like this. But paper balloon, and if you crush it, you just blow it up, and then go back. But the interesting thing about paper balloon, if you are not holding tight enough, it will fall, right? But if you hold too tight, it will crash. And you have to blow it back up. So then, how you hold paper balloon without crushing it, but still holding it? So in order to do that, you have to constantly feel the subtle feedback, from the presence of this balloon, but without putting too much pressure on it. So you have to be aware all the time. You can't just mindlessly, press. If it's like a rubber balloon or something, or a ball, that you can hold it as tight as you want. But with paper balloon, you can't. So you always have to feel this subtle sensation, And the energy ball, when we feel energy ball, it should be like that, feeling that paper balloon. So that kind of stuff. And then we'll go into energy breathing. Of course, keep our body in a state of soup. And then we'll do energy breathing. And for those who haven't not familiar with energy breathing, energy breathing is the breathing through your nose, with tip of your tongue gently touching the roof of your mouth. And then as you breathe in, feel all the energy you need coming into your body from your skin and collecting and condensing in your lower tanden. The condensing is an important part too. And when you use your your mind that way, your body naturally contracts just a little bit. Your lower stomach area contract as you visualize energy condensing. And that's all you need. Sometimes you have taught to suck your stomach in, but don't do that because that's just too much in your body and it's not good for you. It's also very uncomfortable. That's why I dislike the word reverse breathing. If you look at different books and stuff, sometimes they use the word reverse breathing, but you can't reverse breathing, so don't even go in there. So that's why I'm just calling it energy breathing. And as you breathe out, any energy you don't need, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, so from any aspect of you, all these energy you don't need releasing out. And as you visualize that, your body naturally release. So you're really focusing on your than your body itself. You're just observing how your affect your body, because your affect your ki, and your ki affect your body. So that's kind of how your body will react through your and that's how you're observing. Then you are trying to do something. So that's the kind of important part of energy breathing. And some of you probably been with me for a while. I've been using energy breathing in a way to release attachment. So some of those techniques and stuff like that you will learn. And then once you start doing that, they go into the feeling of gen. So gen is the void. I'm stop using the word void. It's also because the void, when you translate it into Japanese or even the Chinese, it doesn't end up in the same character. It have a meaning of basically nothing is there. So then that also have a different meaning. So I'm using the word gen. And from my understanding, just feeling of gen is about recognizing your body, or your existence, not just as a physical existence, but when you extend your awareness, your existence as a spiritual being, that's when you feel this kind of a fuzzy and distant feeling. It's like, oh, I'm here but not here, and I feel kind of a light, but I'm grounded at the same time. Or sometimes you feel like you're outside of your body, observing yourself. I'm calling that, fuzzy and distant feeling. And the words, the fuzzy and distant, I got it from a Qigong master, apparently who taught Master Len in the beginning. The person that he attended, his teacher's book was using these words of fuzzy and distant. I'm like, oh, I think that's just a perfect. So I've been adapting that. And then heart opening password, that it's also a form of E. You set your intention that I'm opening myself to everything. If you like to use the word universe, by all means. If you like to use the word divine, God, whatever it is that help you to connect with a feeling of expansion, infinite, limitless feeling. Because some of these words are actually more limiting now, because of your belief system or this or that, can actually limit. But instead, use the word, that whatever word it is, that help you to just open to everything. And then feel that feeling, how that feel to connect to everything there is beyond time and space. Nothing limits you. And with that feeling, you call on your guide. Your guide is just a guide, just pointing your way, not gonna control you, But also, guide is not gonna carry all the load for you. You have to do the work. Guide will sometimes, there to help you to carry the, your baggage for a while, but then the guide at some point have to go. But you are the one have to continue. So, your relationship with your guide is very important. And guide could be anyone. I talked about that before too, but it's better to find the guide, who you resonate with. Not you choosing the guide, but then in a way, the guide will choose you. So we have had that kind of meditation to connect with your guide. So if you go back to some of the old recording, there's a meditation there too. And then once you feel connection with your guide, you set your E. This is my purpose. This is my intention. And even more so, this is my path. July, I'll be doing the journey together, the soul resonance meditation again. If you don't know where is my path, when you find your path, okay, this is the way, then everything becomes clear. And once you decide to walk on the path and let go of all the things that you don't need, your life always feel this sense of being guided. Of course, sometimes things happen in life, and sometimes even though it feels difficult or sad or angry or all sorts of different emotions that can come. But when you feel this connection with your path, you understand, everything is for the path. This anger I'm feeling is for me to be able to deal with this anger or this emotion. For me to be able to deal with this way of thinking, or maybe transforming it. It's an opportunity for growth, So you stop being a victim of life, You just have to become a traveler wherever you are. Sometimes it's high, climbing up with rain and snow, and sometimes it's comfortable, nice, but that's the part of a travel, right? And there is no express lane. You have to walk on it on your own. But then once you understand that everything in your life is just a stepping stone, then whatever it is, okay, this is something that I have to walk with right now, But then when I walk with this, and then when I'm ready to go, the next step will be even better. So that help you to change, your way of thinking too. So today's practice, we're just gonna feel this, mindful resonance, and then just feel when you feel this connection with your E. And once the E, if you set your E, not just the ki in your body, but ki everywhere is activated. So that's why when you set the intention right, and if you really connect with your intention, things start happening. It's not just you, because everything starts moving. That's why the setting of your E is very important. That's why when you're on the path, there's always something happens or someone show up, give you a hint. Something happens. I'm like, oh, just guiding me to this way. All these things start happening when you are aligned with your E, with your intention, and when your idea of a path is aligned with what you need to be. So, I'm feeling that sense of being guided, feeling of a comfort and peace, and that's when you're ready to start anything, whether you start moving or meditation or anything. So we have 20 minutes or so let's do that. So if you can come to standing, of course you can do this sitting, later sometimes I'll do that with the sitting for the meditation. But first of all, this is something that we do every day in our practice class too. Open your feet about hip width apart. And bend your knees a little and relax your shoulders. And take a moment and feel your connection to the earth. Okay, just quickly, look at your feet and align your feet. So ideally, your second toe is facing forward. I know that some people, the slight turn out is a natural, or for some people, slight turn in is natural. So if you know that this is the center, the second toe facing forward, and adjust whatever it is that need to adjust from there. Because sometimes you have a habit in your joint and then not easy to stay in the position. But part of it is aligning your body so that you're creating a new habit in your body too. And there are 3 points in your foot I want you to feel. Ball of your big foot, big toe, and the outside of your foot, and the center of your heel. Feel all these 3 points are touching, and somewhat your weight is distributed evenly in those points. I know some people with a low arch might feel more toward the center. That's okay too, But just notice, bring your awareness into those 3 points. And feel your knee is on top of your feet. So your knee is not coming in or going out, right on top of your feet. And your pelvis also sitting on top of your knees. And feel your shoulders are draped over the pelvis. I want you to visualize that. Like when you put the cord over the back of a chair, that's the kind of a feeling. Your shoulder just being draped over the pelvis. But I want you to feel your arm starting from your SC joint, from where the sternum and collarbone meet, and feel the long arms. And feel your legs are starting from your SI joint, where the sacrum and the iliac bone meet, and your legs are going also long. Feel long arms and long legs. And now feel your lifeline from top of your head down to the bottom of your torso. There's a straight line running. Because you can't you can't make your spine straight because spine have a natural curvature. But this lifeline can be straight. And all the tendons going through this straight line. So now you can think of yourself like a stick figure with a center line, and arms are like a sticks and legs are like a sticks. Feel your body is centered and grounded. And feel your body's energy very simple. Now feel your connection to the nature, connection to everything there is. Everything is constantly flowing, constantly resonating, and constantly transforming. And you are part of that flow, part of the constant movement. Now you push your elbows out a little bit. So by that means your elbow is facing the side of your body and pushing out just a little bit. And open your hand just a little bit. By doing so, you're engaging your body, but you are relaxed at the same time. And this is the feeling of Su, your basic state. And feel you are creating space inside for your ki to flow freely and most efficiently. Notice that feeling of creating space inside. Now, with that feeling, you start bouncing from your knees up and down. Bring your focus to your body and notice what is the most comfortable vibration for you. In this comfortable vibration, you are resonating with the vibration of the earth. And you are pumping energy into your body from bottom of your feet. As you bounce, you can also adjust your body. Because as your body loosens up, you might feel the center feels different. And you let the in-breath coming in through your nose. Let it go out through your mouth with tip of your tongue gently touching the roof of your mouth. So your tip of your tongue just sit behind your upper teeth, touching very gently. Your lips are slightly apart. And you breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. Observe slow, gentle, natural breath. You don't have to force your breath or control your breath. And with each breath, let go of extra tension in your body. When your body is aligned, you feel this even, steady vibration in your body. Now scan your body head to toe. Notice how each part of your body is moving. Your head, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, tongue, and your jaw. Notice your neck, throat, collarbones, shoulders, and shoulder blades. Notice your upper arms, elbows, lower arms, wrist, hands and fingers. Notice your spine in your upper back, middle back, lower back, sacrum and tailbone. Notice your chest, your breast, rib cage, and sternum. Notice your lungs, physical heart, and diaphragm. Notice your torso and your belly. Notice your liver, gallbladder, pancreas, stomach, and spleen. Notice your small intestine and large intestine, kidneys, bladder, and your reproductive organs. Notice your pelvis, thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, feet and toes. And feel from head to toe. Every part of your body is right here with you. And your kokoro, which is your mind and your heart, your spirit and your soul are right here with you too. And feel you are here as a whole being. Now gently bring your arms up over your head. If you can, align your hand and your elbows over your shoulders. Feel it just right on top of it. Now, if you have access issues, then of course this is good too. But I want you to feel your arms starting from your SC joint. So you are not trying to bring a pressure into your shoulder, but really feel you are supported by the SC joint. And your shoulders are still draped over the pelvis. And your pelvis sitting on top of your knees, and your knees sitting on top of your feet. So from your hand all the way to your feet, you are aligned and centered. So when you're doing this, make sure your wrist is relaxed. So your hand kind of vibrate with your body, but you don't have to shake your body. Feel you are balancing your arms over your head instead of holding. In order to do that, you have to relax your body and just enough effort to engage. And when your body is aligned, it's really easy. And feel it's effortless. Now bring your arms down. You can continue bounce. Now gently swing your body side to side from your lower tanden. Feel it starting from your behind the navel. And be aware of your lifeline. Remember, it's not about moving or swinging your arms. Really feel from the center of your body, not from your limbs. And feel your body is turning from the central axis. And feel this inside out spiral. But you don't have to control your body too much either. You still have to relax. You still have to bounce. Our nature to trying to control our body is also our ego. So let go of that. It's really about feeling the release. Because when you feel it like this, without trying to swing your body too much, you can really feel, my spine is releasing. My organs are releasing by getting this gentle massage. And all the muscles and joints are releasing. This feeling of release is important than pushing and pulling or being stiff. That's why we need to have both vibration and a spiral. So you don't focus on one thing too much. All right, so now come back to the center and bounce a little more. And gently come to stop. Now I want to feel how that feels to you. So here, usually we do cupping and tapping, but I'm gonna skip it today because of the time. But you can usually do, and of course you can skip the cupping and tapping to the end too. But now, say we finished cupping and tapping. We open our feet a little bit wider, about shoulder width apart or even just a little bit wider. It's also very important, sometimes people don't open their leg enough, then they're not grounded enough in their practice. And bend your knees a little bit. And imagine you're holding an energy ball between your thighs. And you are gently squeezing it from your SI joint. So feel the energy coming from your SI joint and you gently squeeze this energy ball. Remember, the energy ball is like a paper balloon. So if you hold it too tight, it will crash. But if you don't keep feeling the feedback, it will fall down. And just notice how that feels to you. And you push your elbows out a little, fingers are slightly open. Feel song. Tuck your chin slightly in, tip of your tongue still touching the roof of your mouth, and gentle smile on your face. You breathe in and out through your nose with energy breathing. As you breathe in, feel the energy you need coming into your body from every part of your skin, collecting and condensing in your lower tanden. As you visualize that, feel the subtle contraction in your lower stomach. As you breathe out any energy that doesn't serve you anymore, transform into something beautiful like butterflies or light or whatever comes to you. Shooting out from every aspect of you, going back to wherever it belongs. We are connected beyond time and space, so you don't have to send it anywhere far away. Just let it send it to wherever it belongs. It will go. Now in this feeling, you gently grab the floor with your toes or think about you're doing that. So grabbing the floor is like if my hand is my feet, you're gently grabbing it. But you only have to do is just think about you're doing that. So you are not tensing your toes. It's really the intention, your E is important. In the same way, you think about raising your thighs and knees, which means like this, but both legs together, which is impossible. So that's why we are just thinking about it. But by doing so, you feel this kind of a chi or ki activate inside. So you don't have to try to move your body or engage muscle at all. And same way you visualize or think about raising your elbows up or raising your whole arms up. And you can feel this sensation of lightness going up your spine into your head. This happens because your lifeline is getting activated too. And this feeling like you're here but not here, it's almost like you're grounded but floating at the same time. This is the feeling of Gen. And from there you can really feel you exist not only as physical being, but you also exist as spiritual being. And your awareness, your kokoro, is somewhere in between. That's why this feeling of fuzzy and distant feeling. And you stay in this feeling. You bring your focus to your lower tanden, behind your belly button, along your lifeline, and visualize beautiful soft light, soft hazy light. And you're focusing on this light. You say in your mind your heart opening password. Use whatever word or phrase to help you to connect to something infinite and limitless. And notice how that feels to you. With your E, the key around you is also activated. You may feel this feeling of deep connection to everything there is, beyond time and space. And you surrender yourself to this feeling. And with deep respect and gratitude, ask your guide to come and help you. And you invite your guide to come march together with you. And see your guide appears in front of you. And you and your guide are marching together as one. And feel you are your guide. As your guide, notice how you feel. Notice how you're holding your body. And notice how you're holding your mind. And notice how you're holding your spirit. And feel your kokoro is open. Now you set your E clearly. You can say in your mind your intention, your purpose, and your path. When you set your E, you set it as if it's already accomplished. So you start with, my dear guide, thank you so much for such and such that you have already completed. And you end with, I love you, I appreciate you, and I thank you 3 times. Now feel your E is resonating with everything there is, activating Qi everywhere. And you are guided and supported in each step you take on your path. Now I want you to feel this feeling. Notice how you feel you are guided. You feel so calm and peaceful. You feel so content. You feel joy and happiness and deep gratitude. Feel you can start anything because every step you take, you're guided. Now take a deep breath. And slowly open your eyes and rub your hands together. And massage your face. Cup top of your head. Cup base of your head. Massage C7. And massage your temples, making circular motion. And massage your ears. All right. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. So practice this, Of course, it doesn't have to take this much time, but then trying to incorporate that into your practice, it will change your practice so much by just doing this. You might not have to do as long of a movement or meditation because you're already there, But this is really important for you to go deeper, in your practice. So sorry I went over a little bit, but couldn't stop in the middle, right? All right, everyone, thank you so much. So as always, I love you, and I appreciate you, and thank you. So until next time, see you later. Bye.